tout le monde at our regular council meeting for February 12th, 2026. Before we call the meeting to order, I'd like to just take a moment of silence in memory of the people who have lost their lives in Tumble Ridge for the tragedy that has happened. So if we could take a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. Number 2 on our agenda, invitation to stand and move at any time. If you feel the need to get up and move around, feel free to do so. Number 3, do we have any additions to the agenda this evening before we approve it? Councillor Bourque.
Yes, thank you. I'd like to add on the agenda for discussion, Pubnico Library.
Pubnico Library. Okay, so we will put that under, just check here. 11C will be West Pubnico Library. Anything else for anybody? I would like to add the courthouse roof tender, if I could, if that's okay with council. That would go under 11D. I also have a community grant under financial requests, so 13C. And under information, correspondence and information. Do we have correspondence and information? Yes, under 12, I just want to give a quick update about the NSFM Spring Conference. So that would be 12C. If we're all good with that, can I get somebody to make a motion to approve the agenda? Moved by Councillor Bourque, seconded by Councillor LeBlanc. Any questions on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. Next, we have our conflict of interest declaration. Does anybody have a conflict of interest that they need to declare on any of the items on the agenda this evening? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on, but if you have a conflict at any time, you know that you can declare it at that time as well. Number 4, we have a presentation from Property Valuation Services Corporation, Paul Beasley, and I believe they are joining us online this evening. So welcome, and the floor is yours. We have the presentation, but if you share it, then our viewers can see it. Okay. Not yet. We see it now. Okay, thank you very much. Questions from any councillors? We have a question from Councillor Boudreau.
Thank you, Warden. Mr. Beasley, just wondering, is the cap the same across the province? Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so it's my understanding that the audio isn't working online again as we had last meeting. So the question that Councillor Boudreau asked, I'm just going to repeat it so that the public can hear the response. I'm certain that we'll probably
It will be reposted, everything will be.
the presentation will be reposted with the audio as we had to do at our last meeting. But Councillor Boudreau asked if the cap was the same across the province, and the answer was that yes, it is. It's legislated 2.6% this year, and it's across the province. Okay?
It's not the same amount.
It's not the same amount? Right.
dollar-wise.
Dollar-wise, absolutely. Okay. We have a question from Councillor Madden.
Thank you, Warden. My question is probably to Mr. Beasley. Once a property is sold, what happens to the cap?
Thank you. So just to repeat, hopefully I get this right. If the property is sold and it's not a family member that buys the property, then the cap is removed from the property, and it is reassessed, it is reviewed again to see what the market value is, and that becomes the base for the new cap if the property is eligible for the cap. I have my doubts. Councillor Foster.
Yes, I have a question for either or, whoever can best answer my question. Our market value residential went up by 6%, 60% over a 5-year period, yet because of the cap, we're at 75% of the total market value, right? My question is this trend consistent throughout the rural areas of the province, such as Cape Breton or Queens County, and how do we compare to other rural areas in that regard? If I may, perhaps I could make a comment. Here in Argyle, a lot of our commercial value is actually on the water in the form of fishing boats, especially lobster fishing boats. And those would not be reflected in the commercial assessment.
Thank you. So just to summarize that, Councillor Foster asked if the trends were similar in other rural areas within our province, and the short answer, I guess, is yes, that rurally, we're pretty much on par, and that has a lot to do with the fact that we're a lot residential, whereas towns, it's mostly commercial, we're residential, so we are on par with other municipalities that are rural within Nova Scotia. Any other questions? Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, we just want to say thank you for the information. We appreciate you taking the time to come in and inform us about what PVSC does. Okay, thank you. You too. Okay. Let's return to the agenda. One thing that wasn't on here that I noticed is regrets. So I just want to mention that we do have regrets from Councillor Digdon. We have regrets from Councillor Surratt and from Councillor Saunier as well, or Deputy Warden Saunier. So 3 regrets this evening. Next, we're going to move on to number 5 on the agenda, the approval of the minutes. We have minutes from January 29th, the public hearing, meeting minutes. Any errors, omissions? So they are approved as presented. Then we have 5B, January 29th, 2026, the Executive Council meeting minutes. Any errors or omissions? Seeing none, they are approved as presented. Number 6, we will move on to council announcements. Does anybody have any announcements they would like to make? Thank you. Councillor Bork?
Thank you, Warden. Just to say that last Wednesday, we had a presentation at the Eastside Community Center by Anne LeBlanc, Waste Check. And we had about 30 people that showed up, which was not too bad for garbage, I guess. So she did a great presentation. It's impressive how much garbage that we now can put into recycling. So she did a good job, and we thank her for coming.
Thank you. Councillor Madden?
Thank you, Warden. I'd just like to recognize Shane Fitzgerald as the new chef owner of Wildwood Restaurant. It just opened up yesterday. I want to wish him a lot of luck. Apparently the restaurant business these days when you listen to the news is not too good, so I want to wish him good luck and hope the best for him. Another thing I'd like to mention is I've been up and around the neighborhood, and I see a lot of civic signs that are covered with snow or snowbanks. I'd like to ask the people to see if they can clear them up. Could save a life. Civic signs are very important to first responders. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? I would like to acknowledge, I noticed that Tusket Ford had celebrated their 50th anniversary in business, and that's a pretty big accomplishment for our little area, so congratulations to Tusket Ford as well. Next, we have the Warden's report, which was presented. Any questions on that? Okay. Number 8, committee reports. There are the minutes from the Argyle Recreation Commission meeting. Does anybody have anything else they would like to speak to? Okay, seeing none. We'll continue on. Number 9, 7-day notice. So 9A, we have amendments to Article P7, overtime. So this is a policy, just it clarifies a few things about the overtime, what's considered overtime. So there are some amendments to 10.1, 10.1.1, and 10.1.2. Amendments to 8.2 and 5.1.2. So these have to do with paying out the overtime, meeting attendance, and there's a couple amendments just some changes of titles since some of the positions have shifted. So this is our 7-day notice. Any questions on that one? Okay, seeing none, that will come up again at a future meeting. Number 10, old business. 10A, presentation follow-up, Yarmouth County Community Health Board, the BIG, there's no attachment. That is the basic income guarantee. So we had a presentation a couple of meetings ago where we had the health board come present about basic income guarantee. They had a couple of motions that they recommended us making. None of them are for financial commitments. They are both about sending letters. So I will read the motion, the first motion, and then we can decide what we want to do with it, if that's okay. So the first motion was to write a letter to Prime Minister Mark Carney and copy our Member of Parliament, Chris D'Entremont, requesting that they honor the federal and provincial basic income guarantee working group in PEI and begin talks to establish a similar working group within Nova Scotia. So is somebody wanting to make that a motion? Okay, it's moved by Councillor Madden. Do we have a seconder to that motion? Seconded by Councillor Bourque. Questions or comments on that? Councillor LeBlanc.
Thank you. I certainly have no issue with this, and I don't have an issue with sending a letter, and I know that there's no financial commitment at this point. My only concern from this, from the discussion, was that when you're talking about the basic income, that there are no time limits or anything in regards to it. And that, personally, I think, becomes a concern. And I know that, there are people out there that require the assistance and the help, and for that, I absolutely have no issue in regards to it. But when you start providing a system of where they're going to provide an income, and it doesn't matter on whether, there's any incentive to get off of that, that I do have a concern with. And so, again, I have no issue with this letter, and I am going to be very interested, though, to see where this is going to go and how this is going to play out. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments on this motion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. The second motion to be considered was to write a letter to Premier Tim Houston, again copying our MLA Colton LeBlanc, requesting that the province establish an all-party committee of the Nova Scotia Legislature to examine the implementation of the Basic Income Guarantee Program for Nova Scotia. Is somebody willing to make that motion? Okay, moved by Councillor Bourque. Do we have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Boudreau. Questions or comments on the motion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. Next, 11 for decision and discussion. 11A, 3-year cost share agreement for Subdivision Street. So this is something that we see regularly. It comes every 3 years that we have to discuss this again. Our agreement is about to run out on March 31st, 2027. There is a motion that the warden and the chief administrative officer be authorized to sign cost share agreement number for 2026/003. That is a potential motion that could be moved. What is the wish of council on this one? Okay, moved by Councillor Boudreau, seconded by Councillor LeBlanc. Questions or comments on that? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. Next, 11B, we have a letter of proposal from Tri-County Regional Centre for Education regarding property services. So we have had a request from Tri-County TCRCE to have some language amended in our noise bylaw that would include, that's more related to snow removal or ice control. So they are looking to have, they're hoping that we will make a motion to amend the noise bylaw to incorporate language around snow removal services. Is somebody willing to make that motion? Moved by Councillor Madden. Is there a seconder? seconded by Counselor Boudreau. Any questions on that one? Counselor Bork.
Thank you, Warden. I'm not quite sure about this. Like, how can you lower the noise control on this, like, machinery? So if you're gonna remove ice or like the machine, what kind of machinery you're gonna use? So I'm sort of like stuck on this.
I think if you look at the middle of that letter, it talks about the language in the bylaw as of right now, and the focus is about power tools. And it's not so much, it's not clearly, as it says clearly, it doesn't cover the heavy equipment requirement to maintain school sites.
Right.
So they would like to see that we have some language in the bylaw so that it can cover, so the noise that is made during snow removal and ice removal. So as of now, technically, the language doesn't cover that.
Okay.
So they're kind of going against our noise bylaw. So they would like some language incorporated in there so that they could clear the snow.
Okay, thanks for clearing that.
I'm assuming that's, okay. CAO Muse.
That clears it up, haha. So I think it's also very specific to dealing with certain institutions as well. So many times when the province does something, or the federal government does something, they usually override our bylaw. But in the case of the Tri-County Regional, well, I call it school board, it's not, it's a Center for Education. It's technically not a provincial, it's a provincial subsidiary, yes, but there's no elected body, it's changed. So it's a little bit, is it really provincial? How does that work? So I think that, I don't think the request is specific to clearing out like facilities of that nature. And so that would include all school boards, clearly. It could extend to other institutions that require snow clearing. Many times they require snow clearing at an early hour. And under normal circumstances, it's just a truck, right? It's not. But then sometimes when you're, doing things a little bit more specific, it might be heavier equipment, and there could be some annoyances. Right? So how far you wish to go on this exemption is entirely up to you. We would like some direction if you vote in favor of this. How limited do you want this, or how far do you want to expand this? The significance of changing the language means it's exempt. So, if I'm next to the school and it's 4 a.m. and I'm hearing bing bang, I can complain, but there isn't a legitimate complaint under our noise bylaw, unless there is something functionally wrong with the vehicle. In that case, it doesn't matter if they're plowing or doing whatever. If the muffler's gone, then that has to be addressed. So it does not exempt entirely. It just exempts the activity, assuming the activity is done normally.
Okay. Any other questions or comments on that one? Counselor Madden?
I'll just make one comment. I used to do some snow removal for Drumlin, and in that contract, it stated that the snow removal had to be done during the night or when the school wasn't open. So really, I don't see where the big issue is, but I think maybe they're just covering themselves to make sure that doesn't happen. So just a comment.
Thank you.
It should be noted that the municipality did not receive any complaints directly on this issue. We did not receive any residential complaints.
Okay. Any other questions on that one? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. Okay, 11C, West Pubnico Library. Counselor Bork.
Yeah, I added this on. It's the Pubnico Library.
Sorry.
Covers all Pubnico. So I just wanted to put it on the agenda because I know that Renee Jedry, our Director of Protection Services, is working on this. So I'll hand that over to him.
Thank you.
Sir, so, yeah, this kind of came up quickly this week. There's been significant amount of work happening since the expression of interest happened in late November. We met several times with the Western Counties Regional Library staff and potential landlord to make sure we're bringing forward tonight is a both attractive and cost-effective solution for the community. The This location is also a preferred location of Western County's regional library. They strongly prefer being situated amongst other active businesses rather than operating standalone like where the current location is. In the past, they've had staffing issues at the current location, probably could be an issue because it's standalone and it's not, there wasn't any businesses at the time. Now there is a business there now. But the isolation may have contributed to the safety concerns for staff. So the new site is surrounded by active businesses, which they feel better for supporting staff safety and the overall service delivery. So I guess just a quick background. This site location or site, what we call it, we've been exploring sites for at least 7 or 8 years, trying to find a new location for this, for the library. So we've been trying to secure a cost-effective and accessible and sustainable long-term solution for the Pubnico Library. Many previous options were eliminated due to costs and accessibility limits, structural issues, or land constraints. So why the current library is no longer viable? The current library is just repurposed from the year 1899 church and requires significant amount of upgrades. There was a study done 3 years ago, so study at the time 3 years ago, which did not include a roof replacement, which we'll need soon, was stated at just over $165,000 for structural and some accessibility upgrades. So 3 years ago, you could probably triple that price right now. So last year, operating cost was roughly $30,000 a year for the current location. So the site has insufficient safe parking. The building sits on the land, and basically the land around the building, the only parking is on the street side, so on Highway 3, like that part's 335. So the side parking is actually the neighboring business parking. So the library doesn't own that land, so there's liability issues there as well. So right now, there's not enough parking to meet the LUB requirements. So this new location, which would be 292 Highway 335, this is currently Speedy Glass, AJ Glass. We discovered at the expression of interest, so this would be a $3,000 a month, all-inclusive, so that would cover the heat, cooling, electricity, snow removal, maintenance, and parking. Right now, we have to cover that at our expense at the old location. So if you do just quick math, that's $36,000 a year at the current location. So if we move to the new preferred location, be looking at total all in at $47,000 a year. But then that would include the heating, electrical, maintenance, snow removal, everything would be included. So we just have to cover that cost. So the total estimate for the cost would be $535,000 and roughly a little over $535,000. So that includes all the upgrades required for the Western Library, and that's as long as there's no major surprises, but there's no major surprises expected. We are going after a 10-year lease and renewable after 5. So right now, the timeline, if council wishes to approve tonight, contractors could begin as early as the next week, as we're trying to secure before the construction season happens. Obviously, there could be some delays, but if everything goes as planned, we could be seeing it mid-August, opening around mid-August. So, and all the costs of moving the current library, the Western Library, would be looking after the move of the old contents, I suppose.
Okay.
So that would be it.
Are there
If anybody
any-
has questions.
Yeah, any other questions for Mr. Jedry? So if this is something that we are considering, we do have a suggested motion that we could make if we're considering this location. But before we do that, we have a couple of older motions regarding the library that have to be rescinded. I'll read the first one, and if we agree, we can have somebody rescind. So the first one would be, let me find it, is from June 6th, 2019. It is moved by Glenn Digdon and seconded by Lucien Leblanc that council approves staff to identify the potential nonprofit entities within the Pubnico area that may be able to share a space with the Western Counties Regional Library, and that this result be brought back to council to determine next steps. So that is the first motion that would have to be rescinded.
Would you like to make that motion now? I would make that motion
Okay.
to rescind.
Okay, do we have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Bork. Questions on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? That motion is carried. There is a second motion to be rescinded from September 8th, 2020. It is moved by Glenn Digdon and seconded by Kathy Bork that council approve a location for the Western Counties Regional Library, and council approve staff to approach the chosen nonprofit entity to see if there is interest in potential partnering. Okay, moved by Councillor LeBlanc, seconded by Councillor Bork. Questions on that motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, motion carried. So then if we feel that this is the correct location, this is a possible motion that we could be making. Move to authorize the CAO to negotiate the lease and improvements with the owner of AJ's Glass, 292 Highway 335, in Pubnico, under the parameters listed in the report dated February 12th, 2026, and return to council for approval. That's moved by Councillor LeBlanc, seconded by Councillor Bork. Any questions on that? CAO Muse.
Not a question, just clarification. It's a reminder that, so those old, thank you for rescinding those old ones. That system, while effective, was not as effective as the expression of interest that was gone out, far more official. So that's one of the reasons why we felt that this was a better approach moving forward. Secondly, we're in the middle of budgets, right? So what we're looking for is the authorization to negotiate. And at some point, there will be a budget request that will come to you for approval, either before or after the actual budget deliberations occur. And last, I will say that the AJ Glass was the winner of the competition for the expression of interest. And so I just want to remind council that that process occurred and that's what happened. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Madden.
Yes, just to be clear, so the residents know this, we are on the hook for the $539,000 to renovate the building. So we can go in there, and then after that, we're on the hook for the lease.
Yes, there's two financial elements, right?
And-
One is a substantial leasehold improvement,
Yeah.
which that's where the 500 comes in. Now, we don't know that's, we're estimating at this point based on pricing. But that isn't necessarily something we would outlay all immediately. It's something that may incorporate into the monthly lease. And that's very common to do that with a tenant and a leasehold. So that certain leasehold improvements will be paid off over the course of time as opposed to all at once. But there are two elements, right? One is just the straight up rent, to your
Right.
point. The second one is the capital improvements that we will have to, we're not doing those. The owner is, and we will be paying that over the course of time.
And that would come from what funds?
Excellent question. Right now, because it's not our capital project, it's likely going to, if we require an upfront fund, whatever that amount will come from the operating reserve. Currently, our operating reserve is sitting at $2.87 million. That would be where I would suggest getting a portion of that 500. The rest will be paid over the course of time. So it'll be included in your lease. So your lease cost of $30,000, there'll be an additional amount tacked onto that, which will be paying those improvements over time. So they'll fall in your operating budget moving forward.
If I may, Warden?
Absolutely.
So what are the library's financial responsibility here?
Again, excellent question. So the financial responsibilities that the Western region has is to man it, or staff it, I should say. And it's because it's in Pubnico, there's a reason why it's located in Pubnico. They receive funding for bilingual services, so they insist that the person that's working at that library is bilingual. So they will offer bilingual services there. All equipment, books, et cetera, and related equipment around the service itself, generally speaking, is them. So the where it gets back to us is more, if we have to put in new shelving, then that would be on us. We'd have to do the janitorial services. We'll have to continue to do that. And with the new lease, we won't pay for the utilities directly, like heat and power. It'll be in the lease price, but there still may be, like telephone costs that we would have to bear. There's some places we can negotiate with them and say, well, no, that's your responsibility. So there's some 5 or 6 things that may come up that way, but for the most part, they run it, and we secure the shell for them. I will note that there was consideration at some point around building a new library. With the cost of construction now, we were rather concerned about that. To build a brand-new facility might be in the $3.5–4 million range. And depending on the size, and of course, once you start going, it's difficult to, we could probably pare that down, but then there are standards that are not our own, right?
Right.
So this alternative allows us to pay rent as opposed to owning the building for long term. Saves us money, I believe, compared to the building. And it also is a better alternative to reinvesting it in the old church, because you know what's going to happen. The useful life of that is coming to a close. So this is why the recommendation has been brought in this way. I'm hoping that council agrees, and if you have any questions still, I'm here. We are here.
I'm good, thank you.
Okay. Counselor Boudreau?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just wondering, CAO Muse, what are the chances of getting provincial or federal funding for this?
Through you, Madam Chair, we are actively looking at funding opportunities as we speak.
Okay.
So the answer is the probability is not terrible. So I think that what we have, so it's a bit of a chicken egg situation here. So what happens is when you apply for funding, they want to know where the other funding is coming from, and you don't want to tell them until they give you the money. So it's a bit of a chicken egg situation there. So we are actively applying for funds. How much that will be, it's certainly not going to be the whole amount. It never is. But you could be, best guess, you could be in the $50,000 to $100,000 range, and it may be specific to bilingual services that will be, that's certainly our plan to approach it that way, because it is an entirely bilingual service that's being provided.
Perfect,
So
thank
there's-
you. Yeah.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Counselor Bork?
Thank you, Warden. Just to add on, the library is in Pubnico because you have to be about half an hour, about 30 minutes away from a library. So we have one in Barrington, and then there's a library in Yarmouth, so it's halfway. So that's about the only place you can put it, would be in the Pubnico. So Pubnico Head is one of the best places to put a library. And it does give value to the community.
Thank you. Counselor Foster?
Yeah, I'm in full support of the move. I'm just curious what happens to the old building, which is at end of life. And, I hate to see us spending large amounts of money demolishing old buildings. Has there been any consideration about putting it up for sale? Is that a possibility? I'm sure we can't just let it sit there. I'm curious if there has been any thought put into that.
Through you, Madam Chair, these are really good questions. These are exactly the kinds of questions we would like to receive as staff, and so the answer is yes, there's been consideration for this. Clearly, nobody wants this to be a situation where you're demolishing the building. The building has value. It has value to a lot of individuals. We do have some interest in the property. The property is not owned by us. We have a 99-year lease with it, so it's almost like it's ours, but it's actually a local community that wanted to preserve the bell and other religious artifacts associated with that property, and they've been not actively involved lately because the committee has aged somewhat, unfortunately, and happens to all of us. So, but there's still a community hall component to the back. There's still access to the community that would happen, and there are business interests in that property as well. Clearly, we would prefer all of those things so that they could get the proper use. Look, the facility is old and is not suitable for library services, but there is a lot of suitability outside of the library services that we're confident that will occur there. Yeah, so it doesn't, there's nobody that's gonna say here, we're not demolishing. We don't know that. Obviously, there's uncertainty associated with the closure of, or the ending of use of an asset, but we do have very positive prospects for potential other uses. You're welcome.
Okay, any other questions or comments on this one? So we do have a motion on the floor. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, motion carried. Next, we have 11D, Courthouse Roof Tender. I will hand that one over again to someone,
It's all good.
to our CAO.
Again, a lot of these are timing issues.
Yeah.
So the difficulty is that we're getting into the time where we should be going out for tenders. The problem with that is that the budgets are not finalized. But just a quick history on the courthouse itself. You know, the property has gone through a tremendous amount of refurbish over the past, let's say, 2 or 3 years. Some of you were here for those decisions where we replaced the windows and where we had the significant painting. We tried it once a certain way, that didn't work out, but then we got it professionally done now. Yes, it cost more, but it got done. And so the last part of this in order to restore it is the roof replacement. So the roof, in all of these projects, I have to get a shout out to the Archives Society as well as Judy Fraughton and her team, who they have been pushing for fundraising. There have been some fundraising revenues received. Now, yes, we paid for the bulk of this, but the society really turned up and helped with this process, including, you know, sponsoring the window, et cetera. There's all sorts of things they did to fundraise to help us. So this is the last component of the courthouse job. We estimate it's going to be between $100,000 and $130,000. It really depends on the significant heritage-specific requirements. Right now, we're pretty sure they're not heavy, but you know, the roof is significantly large and it's peaked pretty good. So it's going to be a challenge to replace that. That number would be on the extraordinarily high end. We have it on our master capital plan. It's there. It was a project that you had contemplated. So now we're at the point where council should consider authorizing that the tender be issued. This is not authorizing the cash outlay of a project, but what it is doing is it's authorizing what we call Contract A, which is a pre-agreement for the tender, that there are legal implications of entering in this. For instance, you may not necessarily be able to just walk away from a bid, but there are many ways where you can choose not to take a bid for a variety of reasons. I'm not going to get into the legalities of that, but there are legal exposures to any time you go into a tender. There's always some legal risk to council, even if the cost is bared entirely by the applicant. So in this case, it's a fairly straightforward tender. It's that part is going to be handled by our team, and what we're asking for is permission to go out to tender so that you're not surprised when the tenders come in and that you're, oh, okay, yes, well, we knew this was coming. That's what we're looking for today, so that we can get going on the tendering and get it done and get it going this summer. That would be the plan. I hope that was clear enough. If there are any questions?
You need
I do. A motion to authorize the issuance of a tender. Again, understanding that this does not obligate you to do the job, but it puts you in the position where there are some legal connections to the work.
Okay, so
Thank
it's
you.
moved by Counselor Madden to authorize that the tender be issued for the courthouse roof. And it's seconded by Counselor LeBlanc. Questions on that? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we are at number 12 for correspondence and information, 12A and 12B. They are both letters from municipalities. When they amend their bylaws, their land use bylaws, they have to send us notice, just as neighboring municipalities to let us know, so those are there. 12C, are there any questions on those before I go to 12C? Okay, 12C, I just wanted to add, I just wanted to let you know that the spring NSFM conference will be held in Yarmouth this year. And it will be from Wednesday evening, April 29th, until Friday, May 1st, which also means we need to probably consider our executive council meeting, because usually it's on the last Thursday, so we may have to change that date. We received an email, I'm not sure if you remember, but we received an email asking for anybody who wanted to put their name forward to help with the organizing committee. So I did put my name forward, and I was asked to be on the committee, and ended up being the chair of the committee. So there will still be some work to do, because we have to host the social event Thursday evening. So I know there's another counselor who had put their name forward. We will be probably needing some help to host that and to set that up. So if there's interest in that, you can let me know as well. I just kind of wanted you to be aware of that. Okay. Next. 13, financial requests. 13A, we have the We Care Radiothon. So we have an attachment. We have two attachments. The first attachment is let me see. I want to see what the second attachment, I think that's the one I wanted to look at first. The information that we receive yearly, just letting us know that their radiothon is going to be Thursday, May 5th. It's their 10-year anniversary. Every year they ask us for sponsorship for the We Care Radiothon. The amount that we sponsor is up to council. In the past, last year, I believe, we had sponsored $2,500. However, our executive assistant has done some digging and has realized that we were really generous. And we usually are, the council of yes, as Deputy Warden says. So the Municipality of Yarmouth typically donates $500 a year, and the town of Yarmouth typically donates $1,000. So currently in our sponsorship budget line, we still have $1,000 left. So we can decide on whatever amount it is that we would like to or not donate this year. Councillor Bork.
Thank you. Me, I would suggest that we give 1,000. We need our hospital, so it's a very good thing to donate to. We all need a hospital, so I'd like to make the motion that we donate 1,000.
Okay, do we have a seconder for that motion? Seconded by Councillor Boudreau. Any questions? Councillor LeBlanc.
Thank you. Actually, prior to the motion, I was just going to suggest maybe we look at the $500 as a amount to donate. Just so reading in regards to the next line on financial considerations, we do only have $1,000 left in our sponsorship budget line, and there's still probably another few months before we get into our next budget. So, you know, I'm fine with the 1,000. However, I think that should be considered as well. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. Okay. No more sponsorships. 13B, we have a council community grant for District 8 for the west side.
Sorry.
Yes,
I'm actually, and I never realized that that was on the agenda tonight.
Okay.
I'd like to declare a conflict.
no problem. Okay. Councillor Bork.
Yes, I'd like to make the motion to give the West Side Improvement Society $700.
Okay, do we have a seconder for that? Seconded by Councillor Boudreau. Questions or comments on that? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. I also have a community grant for the Kentville Betterment Society. They're also asking for $700 in a community grant for hosting their community event that they haven't, and it's the Family Fun Day. I cannot make the motion as I am chair, so I'm hoping somebody will make that motion for me. Okay, thank you. Do we have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Madden. Any questions on that? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary minded, motion carried. Next, we have agenda topics for the next meeting or notice of motion by councillors. Do we have any agenda topics or notice of motion? Councillor Madden.
Yeah, since Mr. Jedry's here, and thank you, Warden, I'd like to, can we get some kind of report for the streetlights finally, or get something going for next meeting? So I'd like to put that on the agenda, street lighting, rules and regulations, I guess.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Anything else? Oh. CEO?
Just on that topic and for clarity, so the information could take us a little longer than the executive meeting. If it's okay for that executive meeting, we'll bring it. If it's okay by council and yourself, if it can be the next meeting, if we require it, is that okay? Or I'm just, because there's a lot of detail associated with this, I just don't want to be like, you have an expectation that it's going to be on that date and then we're not ready. I just want to be clear on when you would like to see that or whether you want any specific deadlines on that for us to prioritize.
At this since October, and so it's sort of like next meeting, next meeting, next meeting, so I'll make an exception this time.
Okay.
All right.
So, all right, so we'll do our best to bring
Yeah,
whatever
it's
I mean, look,
it's not
this
just
could be
something that
brought
come-
multiple times,
Yeah.
right? It's something that may take a bit of time before we get it right for you.
Thank you.
So we'll do our best for the next meeting and we'll let you know either way.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Number 15, question period. Are there any questions? Number 16, in camera, we have 16A, section 22.2, contract negotiations. So can we have a motion to go in camera? Seconded? Second. Any questions on that? All those in favor? Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. We will go in camera.